The New Deal refers to a series of economic policies implemented by Franklin Roosevelt after taking office as President of the United States in 1933. Its core is the three R's: relief, reform, and recovery. What Americans feared at the time was the serious economic crisis. Roosevelt proposed a federal stimulus fund of up to $3.3 billion of US dollar and also established the Federal Emergency Relief Agency, which helped 17 million people. In addition, a similar federal stock exchange agency was established to control Wall Street, and the Tennessee River Valley Water Project was restarted. In order to understand and rescue the collapsed housing market, homeowners loan companies were set up. The following year, the Revolutionary Federal Plan was promoted. A series of Social Security legislation were proposed, including unemployment benefits, sickness benefit, and old age pensions, and the establishment of Public Service Promotion Bureau, appeased people who experienced the Great Depression. Anti-crisis measures such as state intervention in the economy, regulation of production, and alleviation of contradictions have been adopted with different priorities and forms. The welfare state measures initiated by the New Deal are still an important means to consolidate the rule of monopoly capital. In the next 8 years, 8.5 million people were hired, and $11 billion was also invested to activate the economy. People were really satisfied with the government at the beginning and reflected their vision of the future. Under the influence of COVID-19, the U.S. government also responded as described above. The U.S. Congress passed a $2 trillion COVID-19 relief bill, which includes direct cash payment to married Americans, expansions of unemployment assistance, and states, medical facilities, and other public services, provide support to the hardest hit industries, and grant loans to small and medium-sized enterprises. If these companies avoid layoffs, these loans can be forgiven. The current unemployment insurance system for American workers is seriously outdated and unsuitable for a modern economy. Congress is trying to solve this problem in the COVID-19 legislation, ensuring that freelancers and gig economy workers are protected, and temporarily supplementing existing benefits. Of course, the New Deal also has some shortcomings. The New Deal created a large government and huge deficit spending, greatly expanded federal powers, and reduced state and local governments of their responsibility. It did not solve the following fundamental problems: how to make the enormous natural wealth and surprising production potential benefit all the United States. The politics that this problem inevitably caused has not been resolved. That is, how to organize ordinary people to pass the more subtle circumstances of the tragedy caused by the crisis to national leaders. When the Depression is over, many of the ills and capitalism remain the same. It expanded the ranks of the middle classes, but kept many Americans divided into shopkeepers, slum dwellers, and mostly blacks, outside the newly formed balance. Race and class issues also exist in modern society, especially after the COVID pandemic took place. In the United States, prejudice against Asians has increased sharply, and many of them, regardless to whether they have experienced violence, bullying, or unfair injustice. They start to think about his position in American society. According to census data, about 20 million residents of the United States are Asian, accounting for about 6% of the total population of the United States. Every year, there are 3 million tourists visiting the United States from China alone. But whether it is for people who identify themselves as Asian Americans, those who wish to become Americans, or just visiting Asians, a racial prejudice against Asians in the United States is the same. Asian Americans have many common experiences. For example, they are considered to be forever foreigners before the epidemic. Both the New Deal and COVID pandemic somehow increased discrimination between race and social classes. Above all, we can see that although the New Deal and COVID pandemic seems to affect the world and the US in different ways, but they actually share a lot of similar social impacts, and the public tend to act the same toward both.